Excellent. Welcome to the TED Summit online conference. I'm really happy to have Robert here from Wadaro. What's been happening with you, Robert?
Been very busy, Alan. Um, we've had quite a lot of customer engagement, which has kept us busy. This quarter is fairly intense. 2026 is going to be busy again.
Cool.
The most notable piece of news is that we've, after about 6 or so months, raised some funding, which is
Excellent.
which is very helpful.
So that'll help you in terms of meeting the demand that is being generated.
Yeah, I think it's a critical shame if you've got interest in what you've got and people will pay for it, that you're a bit resource constrained and can't
Yeah,
take the opportunity. So that constraint is now gone,
gotcha.
and I'm hiring rapidly. We're also now have the luxury of contemplating other markets, other technologies that we can get involved in. It's still sim centric,
Yeah, of
but there
course.
are
Yeah,
other variants of things that we can do.
gotcha. Now, of course, in raising cash, people go, well, I could do that. So you start to see copycats when you raise cash. I mean, copycats have come and gone in the in-sim market because of, well, the sim ecosystem. It's been
Mm.
very good at stamping out innovation like we see with the telecom industry. So just interested with you raising some cash, whether you think you're going to see more competition coming in now.
Um, well, possibly. Sim is still a little bit niche.
Yeah.
Sim vendors are under a lot of pressure. You'll see plenty of instances where factories that were previously making physical SIMs are being shut down
Yes.
because of the advent of the eSIM.
Yep.
And you've got a company like Rips in Virginia that's producing eSIMs much quicker and much cheaper than the traditional SIM vendors. So
Yes.
it's still a difficult environment to be in.
Gotcha.
Copycat. I don't actually mind other businesses appearing trying to do what we do. We've been doing it for a very long time. We've
Yeah.
probably made almost all the mistakes. We make less these days, so we've learned already. Other people will have to make the same mistakes.
Yep.
Um, and fundamentally, to get your product into a SIM card, you have to have the hearts and minds and trusts of the network operator, and that takes a
Correct.
while to develop.
Long
So
time.
it's not that we're negligent, we don't pay attention to growing competition, but I do think we've got an advantage still. So, like I said, we're
Absolutely.
not being complacent, we're mindful
Nope.
of it.
Yep.
Yep.
No, no, I mean, it's that I see as your sort of unique advantage because of the multi-decades. You've been there, known quantity, reliable
Mm,
IMSIN software solution
mm,
that's
yep.
been deployed around the world. Now, one of the
Yep.
things that we've seen pop up recently here in New York is SIM boxes. So that's
Ah,
gained a lot of attention. People going, wait a minute, SIM boxes exist? How do they get all those SIMs? Why? So, but of course, that is again one of the advantages with Wadaro in terms of your in-sim solutions, enabling detection of that. Because I always
yep.
remain shocked that for a mobile operator, you've got a network, and then criminals can basically put these boxes on your network and then run a whole host of nefarious activities.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you just have to admire the criminality. They're so creative and the things that they do. It makes me smile. It shouldn't do. I should sort of frown and wave my finger, but I do find it entertaining. But it's not just sim boxes. There's
Yeah,
sim box, sim swap.
yeah,
We did a little study not too long ago, mining some of the data from one of our customers to find fake base stations in the US.
gotcha.
And there were the usual kind of candidates like Washington, D.C. and New York. But there are certain states where you just think there's nothing going on there, and we still found them there. And you sort of Google map it and find, oh, look, a military base. So there's
Oh,
there's stuff going on. Um,
interesting.
we did do a Simbox fraud detection project in Mexico a little while ago,
Yeah.
but we didn't have to do a great deal. We just took our existing data and mined for characteristic behavior of subscriptions, which, they're all in the same place at
Yeah.
about the same time, generating traffic far quicker than the human thumb can traverse the keyboard.
Yep.
And they're in kind of multiples of 60 at that location. So, wow, that's a Simbox.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which should be a
Um,
telltale sign. I mean, it's not that difficult. I mean, they have that raw data.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but anyway, that is good. Now, when we were last talking, you were talking about some of the geotagging stuff that you've been
Mm,
doing to avoid having to use GPS with
yes.
your IMSIM solution. So I was just wondering what use cases you've been using that for.
Well, as you know, it was something we developed to decorate the data that we've got. So rather than just saying somebody's, can't get a signal, we could say where,
Yeah,
because the likes of Apple,
yeah,
in particular Apple and Google, don't want you to have they want to own that data.
yeah.
So access to the GPS receiver, although standardized for the SIM, is not implemented.
Yeah.
We worked around it by building our own solution around radio measurement and mathematics. So we now got latitude and longitude, but without support from the handset.
Oh, cool.
And as I said, it was to decorate our data.
Yeah.
But we've now got a first customer who's latched onto it and said that they could resell that capability. So there's a kind of a business facing unit within the network, which is selling a tracking solution to their larger, freight customers.
Hmm.
And they want to add our capability because there are devices out there which don't have a GPS receiver that
Yes.
are connected and they
Yep.
have smaller batteries. So it brings down the price point for a tracking solution and therefore increases the volume. So
Ah, so
um,
IoT applications, those little in parcel
yes,
things.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So rather than have a big battery on a GPS receiver nailed to a kind of a container,
Yep.
you could have smaller packages
Yep.
with smaller, cheaper devices.
Gotcha.
And at one point, they did have a target in that group to get the endpoint device cost down to a bill of materials of $6,
Oh,
which is quite possible, but not with GPS
yeah.
because it just no. So that's a project which actually is being delivered right now,
Excellent.
and should go live.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we'll see. Maybe the next time we talk, we tell you about the performance of that.
Cool. No, definitely interested to see because that's great. I mean, removing GPS is a requirement. So it's now you're not dependent on Apple or Android. It really is the SIM's there, your data connected through the carrier, so you
Mm,
can then expose that lat long for
yep.
that device wherever it is. Now,
Yeah.
one of the
And
things we talked about for the North American market is that 200 million a year spent on drive tests. Is that ever going to end? I mean, will in-sim become the default?
well, I think a more intelligent network would probably erode that expenditure.
Yeah,
So there are self-organizing network solutions out there which are predominantly based on core network probing and maybe supplemented by drive test.
yeah,
Um, I'm not a big fan of solutions that should change back into the network based
yeah,
on those two sources of data.
yeah,
I and I might be biased, but for obvious reasons, I think that the applet in the SIM is the source of truth.
yep,
So if anybody who's got a mobile phone should just consider their experience. They'd like to know, they would kind of hope the network operator's got that visibility, but they don't.
yeah,
So that a kind of medium-term path for us to follow is take our existing product, which gives us the radio map for an entire country, so
yeah,
we can show by latitude and longitude what service is delivered.
yeah,
Then provide that to the network operator with some consultancy or product that tells them how they should change the radio access network to work better.
yeah,
And then if they feel comfort in those two solutions, then why don't you just pump the data straight into the the supervisory system for radio access network and self-organize.
yep,
And I still harp on, and I do harp on because it's kind of almost a religion. I the network operators, if they just fix their radio so that it's adequate or good, then people would have perfect calls,
yes,
perfect SMS delivery,
yeah,
good data throughput, less traffic through customer care.
yes.
So their P&L would improve.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can
And
point to physical locations around, like at the hospital close by where the
mm,
signal drops. The target where the signal drops, the BJs, where because it's a big, basically hill and it's just in a shadow area behind there.
Yep.
There's just so many areas that have been that way for decades and it's
Yeah.
never addressed.
Yeah. And it's mostly about investment because we
Yeah.
had here in the UK, we had EE won the Emergency Services Network contract, claiming that they had 100% coverage, which it's a good thing I didn't have a mouthful of coffee at the time, otherwise it would have come out my nose. But subsequently, the government's now discovered that's not true. So they're
Yes.
pumping loads of taxpayers' money into EE. So in my car, I have an EE SIM, and it exposes a Wi-Fi access point, and I have
Hmm.
an O2 subscription. I need to have an O2 subscription. So I connect my phone to my Wi-Fi access point in the car so that I can do WhatsApp calling
Yep.
to and from work. Because if I tried to make a cellular call on O2, there's at least 7 places on my journey where there's no signal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not seven, there's just one big one that I hit, but absolutely. I mean, we all know the reality of what happens. Now, you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier SIM swap.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of noise out there from network API perspective, but I'm just interested in your perspective on network APIs versus in SIM when we're looking at SIM swap.
Yeah. So SIM swap, I would say, is a derivative of identity.
Yeah.
Um, you need to authenticate two parties together,
Yes.
and there needs to be a secure channel between the two.
Yeah.
And based on that, the person who's asking for a new SIM is then issued one. If the risk signal is less than, perfect, then shouldn't be.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we are working with one network on an identity solution. I don't know
Cool.
if they're going to go the kind of forum API route or not, but it is a solution that they're going to API out to customers.
Oh,
And if they were really smart, they'd apply it internally as well to
yes.
SimSwap because we have in our product the behavior of the customer, if you like. So there's various perspectives on the data that we collect. So we know where people are. We know if they're making calls and to whom, and in the other direction. There's also a hell of a lot of privacy in there, anonymization. So
Yeah.
it's not like we're invading anybody's privacy. So there's a pattern for a
Yeah.
customer. If that person continues to match the pattern when they're requesting something, then there's a level of signal.
Yeah.
If you layer on top of that extra security like quantum, that's
Hmm.
something else we're getting into,
Yep.
then you've got a very, very reliable signal about the validity of the person, and then you play that into SimSwap. You could probably get rid of, I would say, all of it. I'd just be belligerent
Interesting.
and say, yeah, hell yes, you can get rid of all of it.
Cool. So yeah, and I saw the work you were doing with Cavero. So
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't read the article, but so that's quantum safe encryption that's being applied to the SIM, is it?
Yeah, shame on you for not reading it, but I'll let you off. So, what we've managed to do is port their algorithm
Okay.
into a Java card applet in the SIM,
Oh, wow.
and it's post-quantum key exchange. So,
Understood.
people get their undies in a bunch about encryption being hackable with quantum. It's true, but there are so, for example, AES 256 is resilient.
Correct.
The key aspect of it, which can be compromised. So,
Exactly.
Cavero have got a really neat way of having two endpoints have a kind of hint-based dialogue,
Yeah.
and then establish a pre-shared key, and that's used for the encryption. And
Yep.
there's a tunable parameter where you turn it in one way, you could literally have a new key per communication, or
Oh,
you could turn it the other way, and it's kind of a unique key per session.
yep.
So it's all tunable and configurable. So we've managed to get that to work in one of the lowest capability devices on the planet, a single board microcomputer called a SIM card or eSIM, and it works. And we were
Excellent.
demonstrating it Friday at
Yep.
the Quantum Technology Showcase in Angel, London.
Yep. 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 I saw that. Well done. And
Yeah.
then just looking out to 2026, what are you looking forward to with Wadaro?
Okay. So more of what we currently do because we've got the capacity.
Yeah.
And then there are two areas, new areas that we're going to kind of invest in. One is around security products because the SIM is a secure element and it
Yep.
enables various security. So all of that SIM box fraud, SIM swap fraud, base station hunting, more of that.
Yeah.
Uh, Potentially some military applications, but not in offensive military. It's about defensive stuff.
Yeah.
And on the other side, through partners, we'd probably be doing more in identity itself. So that would be merchant transactions or various system access stuff, which, so effectively, if you look at that, there are two or three different authenticator apps you could run. There's a key, YubiKey you could use. We
Yeah.
could probably do all of that bundled into one solution inside the SIM.
Cool. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That is interesting. So I'm looking forward to reading the announcements on that. So again,
Mm.
Robert, well done. I mean, things have shifted into a high gear. So
Yes.
well done and
Thank
looking
you.
forward to 2026.
So am I. It looks good.